Two volunteers, please come so that we can arrange the stage. Two volunteers, please. Without sound, please leave it. Morning to all of you. So we are very happy to have today the guest for us who have come all the way from Hyderabad. Our Professor I. Nageswara sir from PVR IT. Have you heard of this PVR institutes like PVR Raju institutes? Very big group of colleges in Bhimavaram and Hyderabad, very big branded institutes. And I will ask some of the students to speak out his profile, introduce his profile. And before that, I welcome all our faculty members and with your round of applause. So this topic of corporate governance is very much important because nowadays a lot of events are coming like Yes Bank, ICICI Bank, and in the international context also. Have you heard of this FTX? The collapse of FTX, all these corporate governance issues. So sir will highlight us on this very important issue. So now I request Suhati to introduce read the profile.
Good morning all and respected speaker sir and all my faculty members and my dear friends. Today I am so glad to have our speaker Dr. I. Nageshwara Rao Garu. Dr. I. Nageshwara Rao Garu has completed his BTech in Mechanical Engineering and MBA in Marketing and Systems Management and PhD in Management. The title of his PhD is Marketing Strategies of Corporate Hospitals, and he has 4 years of industry experience and 20 years of teaching experience exclusively for management program. And he has also worked as MBA HOD in different colleges and at present in BVRIT, involved in all sorts of teaching and administration and research activities, and molded numerous students to be successful throughout their career. And from 2008 to 2010, he has also worked as MBA HOD in Narayana Engineering College, Guru. Thank you for being here.
It's time to invite our guest lecturer. May I present to you Dr. I. Nageshwara Rao sir, HOD of MBA, BRIT, Hyderabad. Give a huge round of applause.
my one of the favorite academic friend, Dr. Sanjay sir, now in the department, and Professor Malendra sir is well known to me. And other staff members and my dear students. At the outset, I would like to thank Suhasini for giving me a sound introduction. Suhasini. Okay, sorry for the mispronunciation, Suhasini. So finally, what I would like to say, I am not a new one to this environment, and I was born and brought up in Nellore only. It's my native place. So thanks for giving this opportunity. Actually, I want to come as you know during this Sankranti vacation. And sir invited me. Thank you, Sanjay sir, for the opportunity. Of course, to the Narayana group, of course, I worked as HOD MBA during 2008 and 10 in Guru. Then, of course, I moved to Hyderabad, and now working as professor at HOD at BVRIT, Hyderabad. This is about my presentation. Then, I would like to have an interactive session rather than speaking in a one-way traffic. I think most of the students are willing to reciprocate in the same way. Can I expect? And normally I don't want the people who are so numb and dumb when the sessions are going on. At least not be the proactive, be reactive at least. So hope you will respond in the same way. Before going into the topic, and it's like an emotion, the corporate word. Anybody can say what is meant by the corporate? Anyone? Before going into the details. Whatever it is, right or wrong, I don't bother. And if I am not the case, I am not going to beat anyone. So, please, this way. Pardon? I am not heard. Follow? Be loud, I think. It's not heard. Please.
Follows its own rules and systems.
Okay, follow the own rules and systems. Right? Anyone? Any other? Any other? What do you mean by the word corporate? Okay. Governments? I think all of you know what's meant by governments at least. We need not to say the definition. But I think all of you know the meaning of it. Yes.
Corporate means which is large and which has numerous companies.
Corporate means which is large.
And have numerous companies.
Which is large and numerous companies.
Expansion of their company.
Out. Right. And one more thing I would like to add. What you said is right. Of course, the organizations which are profit oriented and listed. So corporate, company may be so large and having multiple organizations, multiple branches, and a lot of employees working there. So we can say it's corporate. But literally speaking, it should be listed, like with the government. With the government in the sense, NSE and PSE. Right? And which is the controlling statutory body for all these things? SEBI. Right? So SEBI. What's meant by SEBI? Anybody? Securities? Securities? Intentionally, I did. What is it? No. Securities and Exchange Board of India. That's the reason why I said, what's a negation? I did negation, not this is yes. Negation? No. Okay? That's the reason why I gave negation. So Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is the statutory body, of course, which monitors all the listed companies every day, and whatever the transactions that happen across the country, only through these BSE or NSE, Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. So whenever the company wants to enlarge its plant or units and they want to go for churning the money, procure the money, they need to go for IPO. And for any kind of the activities in a statutory manner, they have to register with SEBI. Then only we can say it comes under this principle of the corporate governance. In other words, set of the direction, controlling and monitoring throughout the periods. We can say it is the corporate governance. It is made by the government throughout the world, of course. So let me tell you, in India it is SEBI. In USA, for example, it is Stock Exchange Commission, SEC. Like that, in different countries you can find different statutory bodies are there for the governance of these corporates. Governance in the sense, as you know, what is meant by governance? Kind of administration. Government, what does it mean? Its main function is to govern. So that to see all people should be happy. Of course, whether it is done or not, don't ask me. But government means its main function is to governance. So that all the stakeholders like us, the people within the state or in the country, should feel happy in all sorts of the living. Isn't it? And you know, what I say, either it may be somewhat development activities and some of the welfare activities. So both hands, we should maintain our balance on both sides. But of course, I don't mean to say that what is going on, you are so clever than me and you are the youngsters, the future rulers of the country. Isn't it? Nowadays what happens? The government just gives the solves to the people and make the people beggars. I'm sorry to say like this, but it's fact. And obviously what happens? A kind of revolution do not exist, do not evolve. When the minimum needs of the people gets going on, so nobody will revolt against anyone, and that's what is going on. We can't blame, of course, that's the system which is prevailing. At least we are talking, we will confine to the corporate governance now. Right? So, anybody can say, who is the father of corporate governance? If you go back into the eras, before independence or during the 18th century, the concept of this corporate governance has emerged during the 18th century itself. But of course, came into existence till in the 20th century. And after the independence, governments framed out certain norms which were following. Robert Ion Tricker. Let me give you the word. Robert Ion Tricker. He is said to be the father of the corporate governance. Which, let me tell you one thing. Enterprise management, in a simple word, enterprise management, which was the original term, or the erstwhile name of this corporate governance. Enterprise, all of you know, right? Enterprise in sense is an organization which is confined only to some sort of the business. Okay, at this juncture, I would like to say, anybody can give me the difference between trade, business and commerce? Anyone? Maybe the finance students are there. Business, I used the word business. Trade, business and commerce.
What's that?
I expect from the finance people at least. Right or wrong? Because I'm also, I mechanical and then specialized in marketing and systems during my MBA. So out of my own interest, of course, I have gone through all these things and just to share with you. Anyone? It comes out of the process. Anybody can give me.
On key mic, on.
Okay.
Somebody handle the mic. Giri. Mic. Your name. Volunteer.
Right or wrong, I don't mind just to have some interaction with you. That's all. It's my intention. What do you understand or what do you know about these words?
Attempt change.
Just make it attempt.
So by the
very like definitions of those. Trade means the mere exchange, whereas business means the whole system of not only exchange but also encompassing the financial aspects of it. Whereas commerce is only restricted to finance. So we can see that trade is only restricted to exchange, commerce is only restricted to finance, whereas business encompasses both of these.
So, giving round applause. I would like to add one more thing. Trade, what is said is right, say buying and selling. So we have not put any efforts behind that. Business, of course, which you told, including finance, manufacturing, and other things, may be added. And commerce, both what is say exports and imports are also included. Then only we can say is commerce, right? Hope that, but you are right. So it happens, please. So enterprise management eventually made or turned up into the word the corporate governance. And if you remember well, Burma Shell company, I think most of the like we people know about it. Even in Nellore, it is known as the Burma Shell near Sikun Road. Sikun Road means Burma Shell company was established. That was also, we can say, the first corporate in India during the British ruling. First corporate in India which has entered in this kind of things. So why I am taking into the past of this corporate governance, people of course name it in a different way, like enterprise management, and obviously when a small business can be run by a group of people or maybe a sole proprietor, whereas corporate it includes many of the things, and you know it is a systematic hierarchical level of the people works for it. Now, in India, what are the corporates anyone can see? In any sector, just examples. Anyone? Reliance, Tata, what? Bajaj, Adani Group, of course, which has been recently emerged, and of course, named as the number one. Again, that is different issue. So we will come across it. What they call political theory, one of the fundamental theories of the corporate governance. So in which we can talk about it. Number of companies, you know, what I say, corporates, not only restricted one. So Reliance, Tatas, and even Birla companies are there, and Adani Group, what you told, and in health sector like Apollo, isn't it? And in the food sector or FMCG, you can find Hindustan Unilever Limited, HLL, and ITC, near Bato company, Britannia, so many things, Marico, not even one. You can find hundreds of the listed companies. So for our knowledge purpose, of course, I would like to reveal what do you mean by the large cap companies. If you take the BSc list, for example, 1 to 100, isn't it? Based upon their, what I say, market capitalization, simply market cap, we call it as. So based upon those value, companies are listed like 1 to 100, and obviously top 1 to 2 differs of course. Maybe sometimes Reliance, sometimes Tata, sometimes some other company may come into that position. It differs based upon its market cap value, market capitalization value. So 1 to 100, these are all the large cap. 101 to 250, mid cap or middle cap capitalization based on that one. And beyond 250, obviously small cap. Isn't it? So likewise in Nifty, you can find Nifty 50 means the top companies like blue chips, a banking sector, or technological like software, or any other, based on its values. So top 50 companies will be there in the NS. Isn't it? And in BSc, what we call it as census means anyone again. Sensitivity index. Sensitivity index is simply known as the Sensex. Why I'm telling all these things? People know about the patterns and they can understand about the graphs and all. But these are all the basic terminology which should be known by the people like us. Why I'm telling you, being MBAs, we must be knowing at least fundamentals of it, isn't it? Otherwise, if any luggard, any unknown person asks us, when we are not in a position to say, it replicates to entire teaching course, isn't it? That's why I would like to take some sort of the, interest. So, you know what's meant by the statutory body, and 2 weeks are there, PS and NSC, and the corporates, which are listed, of course, either in BSc or NSC, termed as the corporate, and they can do the business. So people will rely upon it, and either if you see any graph, I don't know how many of you are interested in the stock market. Anybody is there at least aware of this stock market? Only a few, right? So obviously you are the finance people, out of your own interest you will be doing. So you can better understand than the other people, but try to understand, because these are all essential for the people like us. So when you see the graph, what it shows, either trending upside or trending downside, or maybe sometimes consolidation pattern, isn't it? In an horizontal way. Horizontal, of course, not a straight way, but in a zigzag manner, you can find. Right? Like what you know, the crescent troughs in a sea. Crescent troughs, isn't it? So, what you call tides, how the tide comes us. So, in the stock market, you can find the graph goes up and down, and at the end of the news, you can hear that. So, started at some point and ended at some point, in between highest point, lowest point, etc. These are all the terminology. If you are interested, you can do that one, and remaining people also try to get understood the concepts behind it. It's not a rocket science, obviously. It is so simple, and once you get understood, then it becomes you an alternative source of your income. I'm sure about it. Only thing, there are certain measures to be taken, and we must be so careful. While trading, somebody told that trading. Here, what we are doing, trading in the sense, so just buying and selling it, higher levels. It's enough. Right. So coming again here, the corporate governance, we can say, we can define it all. I would like to take you through this slide. Beyond that, we will discuss about it. It's only meant for, the students who want to take some notes about it. I have prepared a slide. Corporate governance. Yes. Have a look at this. It is a set of controls, policies, and procedures which are meant to take the maximization of the companies. There's a meaning, of course. Experts define. And of course, when you want to give the definition, you have to take in that way. Isn't it? So, always remember in the examinations, defined means, so definition should be the same thing. Meaning, of course, we can make the changes. Right? Suppose Newton's first law, anybody can say? Any graduates or intermediate, PC or BPC? What is Newton's first law? What is Newton's first law? Anyone? Intentionally, I did not ask you to do third law because it is known by everyone. It is known to all. Please be loud. I think all of you had a breakfast, so my voice is clear to all the people who are present here. I will tell you.
Everybody continues its rest of motion.
Okay, that's fine. So, what is saying?
For every action, there is an equal and
No, that's the reason why intentionally I did not ask you. Newton's first law.
Sir, Newton's first law states that an object continues to be in motion until and unless an opposite force is applied to make it act otherwise.
Good. What's your name?
Sir, my name is Rajesh Ram.
Shyam, very, very nice word. But I would like to make a small modification. Newton told a body is said to be in a state of motion or in a state of rest unless and until it is compelled by an external force, which is studied in my intermediate. So what I am telling, definition in the sense it should be given as in that given by those people are the experts, isn't it? Suppose you said is 100% synonymous. So I am telling here in the examination, try to give the definition as in the same way. But when somebody asks you what's meant by the corporate governance, it's a set of all directing, controlling, and maintenance or periodical checkup of the procedures. We can say. And even the ISO companies, when the corporates have that tag ISO, like adhering to ISO 9001 is to 2015, ISO 14001 is to 2015. Let me give you a brief. ISO means International Organization for Standardization. International Organization for Standardization. It is simply known as the ISO, and which gives some emblem or a trademark, a mark to signify its quality, and those values refers to such kind of the parameters. So ISO gives 7 parameters, 17 parameters, 21 parameters like that. I mean, they define quality in those terms. And when an organization meets either of or one of these standards, based on which these kind of the ISO marking will be given. And in India, ISI, right? And of course, now it is known as the Bureau of Indian Standards, which is located in Kolkata. Why it has been changed in the sense, ISI means Inter-Services Intelligence of Pakistan. That's the reason why name has been changed very recently during the Manmohan Singh regime. Earlier it was ISI, but still you will find ISI brand on the products. But government has renamed that just because of this reason. ISI means normally people think of the Pakistan Secret Agency, right? Inter-Services Intelligence. And why name has been changed? Bureau of Indian Standards. Okay? And you can find that ISI brand for the corporates, Indian corporates. So even ISI mark, ISO brand, ISO name, ISO, this kind of the mark resembles, it is the corporate. The next slide, please. Some examples are given here. You have already mentioned, just for a glance. Bharti Airtel, Cipla, Crompton Crews, Reddy's Laboratories. I have taken a few only, and what do people say? Can I have the
Cactus.
Dear friend, so really it's a piece of shop. Just remember, experts simplified is boutique, which are said to be the top corporates, especially while you want to go for either stock market. And internationally in America, you can say US market, this is the best stocks, people say. Fanta, nowadays F is replaced with M very recently, Metaverse, right? So in the US stocks, Metaverse, A for Apple, A for Amazon, N for Netflix, T for Tesla, and A for American Bank, simply known as Bank of America or American Bank, and G for Google. So what the US stock, what they simplify, those consider them as the top corporates. I mean, when you invest, nothing to worry about it. You can invest further and finally you can re-guide. You can get the yieldings of it, you can get the returns of it. What the people expect say. And here Indian companies, of course. So Hindustan Unilever, Reliance, ITC, Tata, and again the HDFC banking sector, ICICI and Kotak. These are said to be the top brands, top corporates as far as the nation, our India is concerned. So what the experts say, when you can simply or you can blindly invest something and after some period of time you can gain a lot of things. I don't want to say. No comments because personally. So that's why we are talking about this corporate domains. Isn't it? I don't want to say intentionally, and what the people have not given that one in that group. Of course, no doubt it is a corporate sector. Isn't it? So, some of the examples here, like banking sector, like FMCG or other daily products and metals, even if you possess the Tata companies, obviously you can find some ecosystem, isn't it? So, in a Tata company, you can find the ecosystem. So, where you can find Tata Consumers, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, and whatnot, everything is there. Tata Elixir, Tata Power, Tata Green, yes, Tata, what is it, Consumers, so many things. Tata Coffee, Tata Tea, of course, come under this. So, why I'm telling, of course, number of, even almost 4 companies are there, 12 sectors, 12 companies are there. So finally, what I would like to say, when the organizations adopt and follow the corporate governance, in the sense the principled way, there's some what I say, some rules and regulations are there. Obviously, they will said to be the top companies, right? Just an example, some of the companies are taken, right? So you can find here. This slide is most important, what I say, the essence of the corporate governance. You can find the Indian corporate governance framework focuses on protection of minority shareholders, accountability of the board of directors and the management of the company, timely reporting and adequate disclosures to shareholders and corporate social responsibility. So in a single paragraph, the total essence of the corporate governance, who can say it is incorporated. And it is the main one. For maintaining these things, there are certain laws, and of course, which I will not mention there, just I will give you in writing. There are, what is say, the fundamentals. Fundamentals of corporate governance. I mean, this is the essence, this is the key element. Once you understand this, entire CG is clear to you. So you can find here, focus on protection of minority shareholders, accountability of the board of directors and management of the company, timely reporting and adequate disclosures to shareholders, and corporate social responsibility. So these are all said to be, what I say, you can find it, the soul of the CG, isn't it? So what is, what I say, external? Soul is internal. It is the soul of this CG. Intentionally I have put this one. So try to remember forever. So it gives us. So fundamentals you can find here different theories and given by several experts. Several experts. Suppose say, once again I would like to say, theory in the sense which can't be questionable, which can't be, what I say, which is proven for every time. Isn't it? And at this juncture I would like to put a small question. Any difference between like the hypothesis and a theory? Like, not theory, law. Newton's law, say for example. Newton's law, it is common, right? So no one can refute, no one can make an argument that Newton's laws are false. If you want to do so, you must be so cleverest, what not. You must be so clever, right? To Newton. It's not possible, of course. So, why I'm telling, theory in the sense, you can also propose a theory till it stands still with the circumstances. Isn't it? So, what I'm going to say, different experts, I mean, I don't want to make you all remember the names of them, but experts simply, like agency theory, what they call stakeholders theory, and steward theory. So like what you say, so many things are redundancy, or simply what you say, resources. Like based on this cost, transactional, and you can add the theory. These six, more than that, several theories have come during this time. Let me confine only to these fundamentals, fundamental theories of corporate governance. So whatever theory says, its ultimate aim is to implement the essence of it. So what he told, it's the corporate governance. Even in the you can find, in the poster you have represented one diagram, right? Not necessarily, of course. You might have seen that one. So corporate governance in the sense, so what it means, isn't it? Revolved by some points. Ultimate purpose is protecting the interests of the shareholders, make the management to be responsible for the welfare of the stakeholders, and time to time information to all the people who are indulged or who are involved in the total process of the corporate. Right? These 3 points are covered here, you can find. For doing so, experts, the organizational experts or the corporate eminent people, they have emerged several theories. Of course, don't mind that all the theories were given by one person, not several people, the experts. But ultimate purpose of any theory is to safeguard the principles and interests of the stakeholders. Let me tell you, otherwise I will get it from you. What is the difference between the shareholder and stakeholder? What is not a stakeholder? Anyone? No.
Who involves in the entire business?
Only part of that. So stakeholder, okay, shareholder in the sense who is having a share of it. Even when you purchase even one single stock, you are the owner of it. Don't say that, don't fight with them that you have the right to indulge in day-to-day activity. You are not supposed to be. Only thing, profit and loss, you can ask them. You have every right to ask about the profit and loss or status of the company, even when you possess one share of, say for example, TCS. You have every right, but you are not supposed to go to the office and say that I am also the owner of the company. What's going on? So more right to us, statutory, isn't it? So what the agency theory says, it works like, let me come to the point. Stakeholder in the sense, whoever it may be, either the employer, employee, supplier, your customer, and whatnot, who is linked with the organization in a direct or indirect manner. He is simply the stakeholder, even the government. It is the part of that organization. Because always business and government, or business and the society, these are all intertwined. Isn't it? Without one, the second one cannot exist. Business is needed, right? For the survival or the better life standard of the people, it is needed. At the same time, people are required, or the society is required for growth of the company, which in turn develops the nation, of course, in turn. Isn't it? So, all these points are intertwined. We can't refute or we can't set aside each one is different, isn't it? So everyone which is directly or indirectly linked with the organization is said to be the stakeholder, and the shareholder, of course, ultimately beneficial or of course loser. If the company does not work properly, what happens? If the company gets what is a bankruptcy? Bankruptcy means what will be bankruptcy? Devolve. You accept it? Let me tell you, Reliance Group, what happens to Mukesh Ambani Group, what happens to Anil Ambani Group, you can find the difference. Who is invested with Mukesh Ambani, of course, has also become rich, right? I mean, at present trend, I think it's around 2,400 or something, one script value. Whereas Anil Ambani, though the market capitalization is still having around 870 crores. Does it mean that it's a small cap? No. But what happened to it? It did not follow the corporate governance rules. It did not take care about any area of these, what the experts said. Whereas Mukesh Ambani, keeping in view, he is elevated. At the same time, the shareholders also got rich, or they have earned money with the prospects of the company. Because systematic approach or application of all the managerial concepts or the governing rules are implemented there. Still, of course, it's being implemented. Isn't it? So just because of the ignorance or maybe innocence, whatever will be the results, what happened to Anil Ambani? When the property was shared between the two brothers, it is a big case study in our LP. Even IIMs you can find big case studies were held about these reliance issues. So two brothers, so when the property was divided, by that time, each one got around 11,000 crores, not exactly of course, to the figure, which I remember of course. Each one is divided and they got individually. What happens after 20 years if you look, so it has become, it is given in that one. Reliance Industries around, go to some slide. It has become number one at some time, just before slide. You can find the market cap of Reliance. Intentionally I have taken that one. So almost 17 crores or lakhs. Okay, 17 lakhs, 63,263.62 crores. Of course, by the time I prepared this one, isn't it? It may be very slightly. So you can just imagine what was the actual scenario, and he had gone into a professional manner, did his MBA in ISB, though he was a big business tycoon by that time. And whereas Anil Ambani, he just enjoyed the life and did not bother about the companies, what the people are suffered, and now he is in a position to be depending on his brother. I think all of you have known very recently, Mukesh Ambani paid around 500 crores to get him, what I say, anticipatory pay. What happens then? When a brother like Anil Ambani gets arrested, what happens? It shows impact on the total family, isn't it? So just to safeguard his reputation of his family, he spent around 500 crores and paid for the court. I mean, just to make him escape from getting arrested. That is the scenario. What happens in the sense just because of application or non-applying of these corporate governance theories. So whatever theory says, agency theory, what it says that principals and agents. So here agents in the sense they are said to be the management people, and principals are said to be the shareholders. So what they say, when they work together with commitment and keeping in mind the basic interest of the principals of the shareholders, the company will grow. So ultimately we have to work keeping in mind the shareholder or the stakeholder who has invested even a single rupee in our company. Isn't it? So when you invest into a company, normally you won't do it with a what you call blinded eyes, isn't it? We make some analysis, normally the fundamental analysis and technical analysis. These two are very much essential before selecting the script or stock or what you call the security or what you call the share, different words, isn't it? But you must have thorough knowledge about these two things, then only you can pick out. Of course, what the expert says, based on their experience and the history of the companies, they might have quoted. But there is no guarantee that suppose if Kotak Bank turns out to be like one more S Bank, isn't it? You are not supposed to scold, isn't it? Because this is the expert's opinion and based on the past data of the companies, they have formulated like some of the companies where you can daily invest. At the same time, it's not a guaranteed stamp, isn't it? We must go through it. What are the fundamental status? What are the fundamental concepts of the company? Who is the management? Who is involved in that? So many aspects. Reputation of the company. Suppose say if I talk about the Bata, not about people will go because some foundation, small foundation was laid by the original Bata. Of course, now he is no more. He is what I say, successors are doing that one. Likewise, so some brands are very much reputed and even Tata, say for example, you can go because they are the company, they are the people who strictly adhere to the principles of the corporate governance. Let me tell you one example. What happened in 2012 or during those years, of course, Manmohan Singh was a peer, they wanted to come back into these airlines ahead. It didn't happen just because even Ratan Tata made a bold statement. I want to serve the people of this nation. So I want to enter into these airlines. But the then government, not in a direct manner of course, if I remember Radio, her name was Radio. If I remember sir, everybody can make the correction. Nera Radia, someone who was just a broker between the government ministers like and the industrialist, who is the key person. Later, of course, tapes were found out, and finally Tata Group, J.R.D. Tata, he just stopped that project because he never wanted to give the bribe, even a single rupee, to any government agency. And very recently, with 18,000 crores of rupees, again they invested for getting this Air India back. I think all of you might have known that. Because it is a sentimental factor for them. The first Tata, of course, who before the independence, he was the owner of the first flight in India. Hence, they want to go as a prestigious issue and they got it back. No issue, it will definitely soon get the top position in future. Because they strictly follow whatever the theories say, whatever, in other words, ethical manner. And that's the reason why I think you may be having one subject like business ethics and corporate governance. So again, both are linked. So if one is missing, the other would be affected, no doubt about it. So business ethics and corporate governance. So we can find in India, Infosys, Ratan Tata, and of course, Birla companies also, you can. I can say Adani partially, on both sides I can say. Whereas, not the Adani, sorry, Ambani. Adani, of course, within short time, how he would emerge as the number one in the nation, I don't want to speak because it's a political theory says what the political theory says about the corporate governance. No doubt, any business is involved with the government, the rules and regulations, and they just take the oath at the time of climbing to the position, and they never remember it. Simply they forget what is the oath taken by either it may be whatever the CMPM, etc. So they are also said to be the CEO of the state, CEO of the nation. If you consider it as a corporate, So he is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. And what the corporate governance says, so it is not owned by a single person. He may lead the organization. He may be the owner of the company, but he is not supposed to take the decisions as and when he wants. Right? So there is a difference. Suppose if you own a company, you can take the decision, you can hire the people, you can fire the people, you can do whatever nonsense you want. Whereas in a corporate, there are certain norms even to hire the people or to get fired the people. It's not so easy. There are certain norms, rules and regulations to be framed and followed. Isn't it? So when the political theory says political involvement is there, balancing that one, otherwise again it becomes a case of Adani Group. Ambani says, timely fishing, and of course they have evolved to be the topmost companies. That should be different. But to be frank, 100% ethical companies, I can say, the Infosys, he just denied for paying 1 lakh rupee bribe, of course, 25 years ago, when his computers were to be shipped from other country. He denied. So the airport authorities told him that if you pay 1 lakh, he can take maybe around 5 lakhs or maybe what will be the worth of the total computers during those days, I don't. Isn't it? But he just denied, and after Sudha Narayanamurthy, this is Sudha Narayanamurthy. Great people, such great people. So she has given her ornaments, and by that money he paid the customs duty and got his items released from the airport. That is the character of some people, and of course, don't expect all the people to be the same. Whereas Tata Company also. One more example, what happened to Nano. I think all of you know about it. Nano, right? So actually it was to be launched in the year 2006 around during that time, but during the political crisis or the political involvement, it was postponed, and finally it was successful for launching the vehicle in 2008, if you remember, if you go into the history. What happens by the time? Mamata Banerjee was the opposition leader in West Bengal. She made aspirations against the Tata Company because, their self-interest may be there. They never agreed for doing this. Tatas never agreed. So Nandigram in West Bengal, they wanted to establish the Nano company there, Nano plant, and it was the brainchild of the Nano son, Ratan Tata, who is a true Indian, I can say. So just by seeing the turmoils or the traffic conditions, so what is supposed when the middle class family possesses a small car, then it will be beneficial, keeping in mind the traffic and the pricing etc. So he wanted to bring that car for 1 lakh rupee total price. But ultimately what happened during the strikes and continuous registrations, he had to reconsider or change his decision. Then for shifting the company again from the West Bengal to Gujarat, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, he accepted without bribe, of course. So Tatas have changed their entire plant. Almost partial work has already been done by that time. He posed almost 2,000 crores rupees loss for shifting the company to Gujarat. But he never accepted to give the bribe, even a single rupee, to the then opposition leaders or the government people. Isn't it? Why I am telling these things, by giving more stress on the syllables. Remember, students, it's not part of the theory subject, but at least when you become the entrepreneurs tomorrow, keep in mind the ultimate benefit of the nation. So, Narayanamurthy or Ratan Tata, these people should be our role models, not the other side people. Sachin Ravalekar also what happened, that comes under this theory, who do not follow these theories, who do not follow the concepts of the corporate governance, where they are now, and who follow them strictly, where they are now, you can change. You can make the decision. Right? Time may get delayed, or it may take more time to get you back your investments. But when you strictly adhere to the rules or the principles, nothing will happen, nobody can do anything against you. The willpower, isn't it? Sachin Ramanand, what happened? Which is not, this one. Adequate disclosures to shareholders. He did not that one. Do you know what happened in Sachin Ramanand case? Okay, let me brief you. Metas, which is reverse of Sachin, right? Sachin Ramanand personally was such a nice man and a gentleman. Everybody has to accept. But what happens? Putra Vatsalya. భారతంలో ధృతరాష్ట్రుడు జరిగింది అదే. దుర్యోధన తయారు కావడానికి 99% ధృతరాష్ట్రుడే కారణం. కొడుకు మీద ఎక్కువ ప్రేమ. రైట్? Same thing happened in case of Sachin Ramanand. Sunstroke, I can say, SON stroke, not SON, sunstroke. Isn't it? So, what happened to him? Metas company was established, reverse of Sachin, and invested the funds are transferred illegally. The funds from Sachin to Metas, without knowing, without giving information either to the government or to the shareholders. And you know, in a consequent 2 times, he was awarded as the number one. I'll just go to the next slide, you will find. Infosys has received, of course, Infosys, he got the award for that one. Because for the standard of transparency, far beyond the regulatory requirement. So it has received the highest corporate governance rating from ICRA. Just go back again. So you can find what is the difference. So when you follow, when you strictly adhere to the principles here, you can definitely get, maybe delay. Whereas in Ramanand case, what happened, Sachin company was said to be the topmost in the Indian technological company, and its share value was around 4,000, to my knowledge. It was 3,000 to 4,000 once upon a time. What happened all of a sudden? It has not, fallen down to 6 rupees. You can just imagine what is the worst scenario. Just because of he manipulated the things, shown the balance sheet in a perfect manner, and intentionally transferred the funds from Sachin to Metas. Various pleasures may be there. I don't want to make the comment. But what he did is right. Right or wrong in the sense wrong. Isn't it? So, nobody can say that I love my son, I have duty him, I have done this one. Law won't agree. And remember all the times, being the citizen of India, we must be known about the law or even the constitution, at least to some extent. You know one thing? So ignorance of the law is not excusable, rather it is punishable. When you do some wrong and say that I don't know, it is wrong, and I don't know about the rules and regulations, nobody will consider your words. Isn't it? So what happened to him, and obviously what happened the company, what happened Techem, of course, now it has been renamed as the Tech Mahindra, which is acquired by Mahindra company. And of course, it's doing well now. That's different issue. But what happens now? Sachin Ramanand, such kind of who sat beside Bill Gates once upon a time. What happened to him? Now he is, of course, maybe he is on the bail, of course. I think all of you know about them, about these things. Yes or no? Do you know about these names, these personalities? Sachin Ramanand, right? So, where he is, we can't see. Likewise, very recent happened, I would like to say, Chitra Ramakrishna. How many of you know about her? Where I remember Chitra Ramakrishna, I think. So, CEO of NSE. CEO of NSE, National Stock Exchange. What happened to her? Now she is being arrested and behind the bars. Isn't it? Chandra Kochhar, the ex-CEO of ICICI, which, she was a role model for many people like us. Chandra Kochhar, such a great, knowledgeable person who brought the ICICI to the rank, top level. What happened to her? Now she got bail day before yesterday for indulging in what is saying sanctioning the loans for Videocon company just because of their relationship, personal relationship with the Videocon management. So both the people were arrested and now they are behind the bars, and the very recent, of course, they got bail. Just imagine where the people were, and just because of what I said, not being implemented the CG theories properly, not implemented the ethical theories properly. And I would like to touch those 2 points. In the business ethics, 2 prominent theories, right? Do you know? One is, anyone can say, teleological theories. And the second one, deontological theories. Anyone know about this? Business ethics is there for you? Right. Okay, let me brief you. Teleological theories is given by the Stephen Miller. So what he says, it is the outcome based, either by hook or crook. Suppose you want to get 80% of the marks in the final exams, isn't it? Either by hook or crook. Study well, get copied, or indulge in some other mock practices. So whatever may be the process, finally if you could able to get that percentage right, so it becomes some of the teleological theory, isn't it? So what the others, deontological theory given by the Kahn, that's the reason why discipline known as the Kahn principle. What he says, not the outcome, process based, the process which you follow, whether you fail or get the success, that is a different issue, isn't it? If you want to get 80%, do hard work, right? And obviously, you can take the exam even when the incident is out. What happens in most of the colleges, most of the worst colleges, I can say, not the invigilation, out-vigilation will be happening, right? So-called invigilators is outside just to prevent, to distract any kind of the observer that doesn't come under that ethical theory, isn't it? And so you can find some people who do not get copied or do not indulge any kind of malpractices just because of the fear of getting caught. That is not also ethical. Whether the invigilator is there or not, whether the lecturer is there or not, if you simply take your own exam, otherwise simply leave the paper. That is the ethical value which is given by the Kahn principle. And of course, in our own Indian theories also so many things, but to augment your knowledge, I would like to share with you, that's all. So these are interrelated to the corporate governance. Why B and C are clever together? This is the reason. So when you strictly follow these things, you can get the company up. Along with you, the people also will get the benefits. Whereas these examples, so like Chitra Ramakrishnan, just because of her self reasons. I mean, let me tell you, she helped her boyfriend and made the people deceive, right? So, which is against this one. Disclosures to the shareholder, it should be happened to the shareholders, not to the boyfriend. She did the same, right? In clear way, I would like to say, stock market opens at 9:50 a.m. and ends by 3:50 p.m. This is the standard times of both NSE and BSE. What happens? She is the only person who knows the password of what is called mother computer, or what is it, the server, right? She knows, she is the first person in India who can get the data of the NSE well in advance, let me tell you, well in advance, right? So if you observe the stock market graphs, within seconds it goes very far, trading, what you call, it goes up or down this way. Within seconds it could happen. Just, she took 20 to 30 seconds. She discloses all these, today, one of the top companies or expected companies, she just discloses the matter to her, what they call, boyfriend, or what they call, his name is some Tamil name, Ramchandran, someone, I don't know. I don't remember his name, of course. Right? Why am I telling these things? She is also highly educated, and reaching that CEO of NSE, it's not an easy task. How strong she may be to get that just because of some weakness. Right? So that's the reason why even this SWOT, we have to check ourselves, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and challenges from time to time. Even you have to give in your resumes also. Just by seeing that, one can understand how category you can be classified into. Now what happens that during this 20 to 30 seconds time, he immediately passes the information to his friends here and there in the country, and they invest huge money into it. Isn't it? So what happens that in the morning, they purchase suppose 1 crore rupee, 1 shares. And after 1 hour or so, what happens normally when the graph gets rise? What we people think, normal shareholders, what do you think? Yes, company is doing well, so better to invest into that. Isn't it? But it is a fraud by some third person. So, in almost some hundreds of crores were indulged in these kind of misappropriations and made huge investors get huge losses. And remember, when the CBI people asked her, do you know what she told to CBI officers? On Swamiji appears to me in my dream, and I simply follow his directions like a cartoon story. Isn't it? And of course, when they go into depth of the, what you call the trial or inquiry, what you call the word inquiry. So it is revealed that it is a fraud done, with the help of the support of his boyfriend, and both of them behind the box now. So why I am telling all these things? One more aspect in the financial concept, inside trading. I think these words are buzzwords which you might have known about this. Inside trading. What is the meaning of it? Anybody can say? Inside trading, even in AP. So it was a huge allegation against the previous government that some of the people have indulged in this kind of insider trading, and of course finally both ruled it out. So now insider trading in the sense, when you know whatever the planning of company, without their interest, without their knowledge, if you reveal to any of your favorable people like your friends, family members, etc., it is the insider trading, which is not supposed to be done, which is against the corporate governance again. So in the definition, if you see, you can find management and of course board of directors, what we simply call. Management is normally chairman, and board of directors in the hierarchy level you can find, and normally you can find this is the hierarchy of any company or organization or corporate. The strategic level people may be there. So they take the decisions, they formulate the policies, they formulate the frame out the principles. Like the chairman, board of directors consists of, again, managing directors, right? Executive directors, non-executive directors, right? So this is part and parcel of the management and the board of directors, which is given. So corporate governance ultimate aim is to maintain these things, right? Transparency to the shareholders, or timely disclosure of the things to the shareholders, and see that the top management and board of directors should enact, keeping in mind the benefits of the stakeholders, right? And of course, following the legal procedures, isn't it? So these things were like what happened. Suppose Rajat Gupta case. I would like to quote one more example. Rajat Gupta. Did you hear the name? Anyone? No. Okay. So he was one of the non-executive director to one company. I don't want to give the name. One company. What happened? He leaked the things. Let me clarify you one thing. Anybody can say what will be the executive director and the non-executive director? Okay, let me give you. So executive directors, in the sense they are part and parcel of the organization, they are on the roles of the organization, and they are being paid. Whereas non-executive directors, they just participate whenever there is a meeting or whenever there is a need. Just they will be paid when their requirement is over. Non-executive directors. And suppose if you are the non-executive director to HDFC, for example, you can add the non-executive director to ICICI also. Or suppose in FMCG companies, ITC non-executive director, you are made one non-executive director. You can be to the Hindustan Unilever Limited also. It is up to you because you are the professional, and you can enact as non-executive director to different companies. But if you say the secrets of ITC are what they are going to do in the next 1 year, what is their plan of action? If you reveal these things to Hindustan Unilever Limited, say for example, that is the inside trading. That is the insider trading or inside trading. Right? It is a crime. It is against the policies and the principles of the corporate governance. Rajat Gupta did the same. When he was the non-executive director of one company, he made it all the functionality of the company to Walmart. You know, it's a huge FMCG, retail stores, Walmart. All of you know about it. Then what happened? It shows adverse impact, not even a single rupee or something, adverse impact on the total funding of the original company. When they find, of course, they got shocked, of course. Rajat Gupta, of course, Indian origin, but staying in somewhere, and he was put behind the bars by the US Court of Law for indulging himself in his insider trading. He just given the information to his Sri Lanka friend who made investment usually in the Walmart, and finally, what happened. So I think now I am trying to give you on both sides. When we follow the corporate governance rule, how the companies elevate and emerge as the toppers, and by other means, when the people go through these things, it won't happen. Because in the definition itself, we have clearly given that corporate means it is the profit-oriented companies or the organizations and listed. When you got listed in the statutory body like SEBI, you have to inform them to all the related people. Even when you want to change the board of directors, you have to give the information to the SEBI and got their permission. Right? And normally, let me say one thing, normally group of board of directors maybe of 19, 17, for sometimes for voting purpose, the people kept in the odd days, right? Like 19, 21, etc. and executive directors may be 8 to 10, and non-executive directors, because non-executive directors in the sense he is not our regular employee, he is not in our roles, but we can utilize his services as an expert. Isn't it? So in these cases, like Rajat Gupta case company, which is not supposed to be, just go through it. So given only half of time, I would like to disseminate as much as possible, that's all. So you can find the principles of this, 10 principles of there. Anyhow, we have covered most of them. If you, whatever the theory you can, I don't want to say again, suppose transaction cost theory, what it says that transaction cost should be as low as possible to the benefit of the shareholders. And what it says stakeholder theory is ultimate purpose is to meet the definition of the corporate governance. Did you get it or not? What the definition says? CG focuses on what is it? The management and board of directors see that they must act well at, and what is the disclosure of the information to the shareholders in time, and of course protecting the interests of all the stakeholders. Right? 3 points. So whatever the theory says, it is resource balances, the political theory, transaction cost theory, derived by so many people. Isn't it? So ultimately, again, we can have some retrospection over these principles. So accountability, management of a firm is accountable to people, and that's the reason why most of the companies maintain what you say the financial aspects in 2 ways, internal and external. Isn't it? Internal and external. You can find anybody who wants to go for CA, I think huge chances are there, of course, isn't it? They have the money. Because every corporate possesses more than one CA in their company, suppose based on their nature of the company and the size of their company. Isn't it? Hundreds of CAs may be working under Ambani. Isn't it? Just an example. Likewise, in the what you call in the company, every 3 months, so periodical financial statement checkup should be made for every 3 months. And of course, for every year, external auditing should be done. So both internal auditing and external auditing should be done periodically within the organization for every 3 months and to the government before submitting, March 31st. By March 31st, every company should submit, isn't it? Financial year means April 1st to 31st of March. So that is accountability. Not only related to the account, but accountability means all the times responsibility. Keeping in mind the benefits of our stakeholders. That's accountability. Fairness. What we have quoted several examples, isn't it? Let me tell you, even Satyanarayana Raju got 2 times the best, industrialist award. So people never suspected him, neither the people nor the government, just because of his character and approach, how he submits in time, how he pays the tax within the time to the government, so many things. But finally, what happened here? So what happened? If any fraud occurs, then obviously the organization should be screwed up, the rules and regulations will be tightened up. Let me tell you one thing, the present corporate governance rules emerged in the year 1998. So corporate governance or some of the industry rules which were amended and we are still following the 1998. Before that, you can find Harshad Mehta. Anybody knows about his name? 1992 it happened. Of course, he passed away maybe 3-4 years ago, but he still stood for that, what not to do in the stock market. Just because of that one person, so what happened? The manipulation occurred and huge loss occurred to lakhs of people, and by the time the government came to know about the things, so damage occurred. And just because of him, again, SEBI regulations have been completely changed, I can say. Almost 80% changes are there in the SEBI rules. And what's going on now based on the 1998 rules, isn't it? So you can find the people who are in touch with the stock market, they can understand well, and the rules have been framed and strictly being followed to all the DPs, depository participants, and in a strict manner, right? So everyone must adhere to the rules. Earlier, so liberty was there, like while trading, while what I say, we can find day-to-day transactions and whatnot, F&Os. So flexibility was there, but now you can find, so everything is screwed up, isn't it? Everything. So see that, and you can find that kind of the transaction cost should be as well as possible to the benefits of the shareholders or the stakeholders in this sense. So these are some of the examples which make an alarm to us to know which is better, which is right, which is wrong, and to what side, there's a song of course. So what side we have to be, isn't it? Either pros or cons. Of course, in years, let me just clarification. Of course, I am touching only the Indian context only because our topic is confined to the one and better to understand our own affairs first. So in years, as I told you, SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, it is the statutory body, and the rules framed in year 2002. So we are somewhat superior to them, right? Our SEBI rules made in 1998, which we are following now, and in Sarbanes-Oxley Act, what is simply saying, SOX, it is simply known as the SOX there, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which was made in the year 2002, still it is being implemented there. And of course, we have taken some of them and what we call some modifications occurred in our rules also. In almost all the nations of the world, they take SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, simply known as SOX, of years in 2002. They take them as the best examples, and many of the countries like the UK also, they are adopting the rules framed by the US and including us, right? It's being shared, and because we know there is a standard and there is a worthy of it, right? So transparency, as we discussed. So transparency in the sense, not opaque, right? Suppose accumulation, for example, of course, not in when it is lighting. So other thing cannot be seen. The other side, the object other side of the accumulate cannot be seen, isn't it? Because we can say it's not transparent, it is opaque, right? Transparent in the sense, suppose a normal bulb, of course, when it is put, not milky white, normal bulb. So which is so transparent, right? You can find other things happen outside or other side of it, and with your naked eyes also, isn't it? You will get filament, which is made by what is the metal which is used as a filament? Tungsten. Good. Just I would like to make you go back to the years. So at least my students will be there, just out of interest, of course. So its original name is Wolfram, right? Wolfram is the ore from which tungsten is made, and its uniqueness is withstanding higher temperatures. That's the reason why it is being used whenever high temperatures are required. I mean, when it has to be made with the tungsten in the sun, that's one of the reasons. So, transparency, like a bulb, normal bulb, right? So, we did during our childhood, we made the experiment, and we made the films also, isn't it? I mean, like movies, we used to see that one by using that bulb, of course. How transparent it is, you can imagine, isn't it? So, fairness, transparency, independence. Management should make independent decisions, and therefore independence is meant to avoid conflict of interest situations. So independence in the sense like it doesn't mean that we can go beyond the limits. There are some frame obviously. So within that frame we have to take the decisions
not being influenced by some odd factors. So ultimate thing is, whatever the decision we take, I mean, we in the sense, keeping in mind the management. So we must keep in mind the interest of the people. You can find interest of the people in the sense, the stakeholders are exclusively for shareholders also. Let me tell you one thing, TCS, again, I would like to quote the example. What happens there, when they find its share value is almost dropped by 50%, they call back, what they call the reverse. Isn't it? It happened, of course. I mean, they purchase whatever the shares they want to resell to the company, get buyback shares, what they call. Right? I mean, why it has to be? The accountability, whatever the transparency, they want to make the shareholders feel happy, that's all. Whatever the principles we are talking about, 1, 2, 3, about the top 10 commandments. Isn't it? So when the organization simply follow them, ultimately all the people like us will be happy. Otherwise, there are some companies, of course, which I do not want to mention. So they always try to reinvest in their companies, and it helps for the growth of the company, not the people. Okay, at this juncture, I would like to mention at least Warren Buffett, of course, of you know Warren Buffett, who is said to be now, who is he? Warren Buffett, of course, US stocks, topmost investor. That's it. What about his CSR? If you go through the definition of the concept, you will find. So apart from these three elements, like see that management should be good, see that stakeholders should be benefited, and see that the information should be shared with all the concerned people periodically or within the time, and foremost, what you call the fourth one is CSR, isn't it? Corporate social responsibility. Isn't it? You know, what is his share value? Anybody can guess at least? Warren Buffett, his daily income is equivalent to our one-day national GDP. If you go and study the things, his one-day income is equivalent to our national GDP. Isn't it? If you go through the stock values, you can find Berkshire Hathaway Company. Have you heard? Berkshire Hathaway Company, which is owned by Warren Buffett. What is the value of it now? One share value is $4,63,000. $4,63,000. You can just imagine. In terms of rupees, how much it would be? Multiplied by 82, I think now, 82.75 dollar and rupee. Let us take it to the worst case on an average, right? So 4,63,000 into 82. Can you give me the answer? That is one share value of one company. Like that, he has multiple companies and yes. Anyone? Can give me the value of it? How much? 4,63,000 into 82. Okay, maybe around in crores, right? Okay, that is cost, that's the value of one share. 3.75 crores almost. Alright. So that is cost of one share removal. And you can multiply how many shares we have. Such a huge billionaire, not the billionaire is, and why I am telling about all these things, he spends 50% of his asset value to the world, not only the US, to the world, for the welfare of the people. For the welfare of the people. For the CSR, corporate social responsibility. Not even 5% or 10%, he spends 50% every year. Right? Likewise, Bill Gates also, the Microsoft former CEO and of course the chairman of the company. Every year he spends around 20% of his asset value to the corporate social responsibility, and he concentrates more on the cancer patients, AIDS, cancer, etc. The people who, once they get those diseases, it is so tough to get back, and for even maintenance or survival, lakhs of rupees are needed, and through the trust, it's going on. So, maintaining the directors of the company, board of directors, etc., and like auditors of the company, and corporate social responsibility, these three are said to be, of course, investors' benefits. These four are primarily the duties of a corporate throughout the world, and it is always applicable to Indian corporates. So for doing them, so I will try to wind up within the next 5 minutes. So you can find that sustainability, of course. So once whatever the decision you take, whatever the pros and cons, so better to be always maintained, to be running in a smooth way, right? Sustainability and openness ensures that material just go back. Openness gives us material about current events in the company's affairs, with the real time, with the exception of commercially confidential information, except some exceptions may be there, exemptions, like very confidential matter which may deter the interest of the nation or secrets of the company. That can be retained with what is the company's trade secrets maybe. That may be hidden. Whereas other things should be transparent. Reputation, share price of the company is usually what I told you now. And let me give you the reason of that share also. Since the inception of the company, he never made any kind of the dividends or split these things, because he wants to make the value of the share itself should be rising. That is the concept. I mean, I thought anybody could ask me, because no other share in the world is having that kind of value. So his intention behind that is, not all politicians who make the people satisfied with the stocks, isn't it? What to say, kg 1 rupee rice, or whatever, everything is free, right? What normally happens, people get satisfied with those meager things we won't expect at higher levels. Like some of the companies, every year you can expect the dividends, isn't it? Bonus, what do you call? And they split the stocks so that more number of people can join, and more number of people can become rich, of course, during in the due course of time. It's not so easy, of course. But his aim is to make at least some of the people to be rich, right? So almost it was there by the at 1/10 of its value by the time he captured the company, and its present value is like that. Okay, right. In our Indian scenario, I would like to give you one example. Anybody, can you give you the maximum value share? To my knowledge, of course, it's MRF. It is MRF, which is nearly 1,90,000 or something. Maybe nearly that value. One thing very recently happened in last year. A person like me, of course, who purchased 100 shares of MRF at the cost of 300 rupees or something, isn't it? When he died, of course, the family members, while searching the things, they got some papers and that all of a sudden they made rich just because of a good decision taken by the positive efforts. Of course, various reasons may be there, but its share value is around 93,000, and if you want, you can better, if you are interested, Jockey, I think all of you know, well known about the company, Jockey, right? 43,000, its share value is 43,000. You just can't imagine. Likewise, Nestle, UK. I'm not recommending you, just the analysis is what I would like to give you. This is yours, isn't it? Okay. Those stakeholders interface, the stakeholder interface encompasses well-defined shareholder side, shareholder interface includes development, shareholder meetings, production of minority shareholder, etc. Okay. Good board practices like multiple meetings, board of directors should possess whatever their involvement, they have to take the better decisions. Good board practices, control environment, and board commitment. Then of course, if you want, you can take these things also. We have already discussed and touched on all these points, right? So theoretically, if you want, you can take that PPT also. No issue for me. Next, of course, corporate governance law and courts. Again, when a law is made, everything has to be abide by it. When there is no law, we are all, what to say, have every flexibility and freedom to violate. Even when there is a law applicable, people want to, what they call, always try to freak, isn't it? We always want to breach the rules. The rules are meant for broken, isn't it? But it doesn't applicable in all cases, isn't it? So let us follow the rules strictly. What I am telling at least while driving your bikes or cars, if you follow the traffic rules strictly, again it comes to the deontological theories, isn't it? Just because of the traffic police, if you follow the traffic rules, it comes under this teleological theories. Just remember and keep in mind and follow the rules to avoid any kind of untoward incidents. Let me tell you one thing, law is always powerful. So what happened very recently in Hyderabad, of course, in Gachibowli, an accident occurred, and after seeing the scenario there, the police lodged a case against the 5 youngsters, 5 members died in spot. Right? So why the sense? So truck driver, he was in the right way, and these car comprising 5 youngsters, and they hit the lorry. So no flaw on part of the lorry driver. So after the investigation, you can find how pain and pinch to their parents. People were there, of course, all the fine. But rules, laws are always same in a 100% correct manner, isn't it? So what is said, the truck driver was freed from that one because he had no flaw in that one, nothing wrong on his side. So car hit in the wrong way, and they died, of course, one day. Police put the FIR against those 5 people who died, of course. So there is no friend or relation to the law. Law is always powerful, and it is the utmost everyone has to follow. So to keep to control all these companies in order, so certain laws were framed out, and we have to follow them. Right? Of course, we have already touched those points. Of course, I have intentionally given it a loss just to make you recall what is meant by the corporate governance again. So again, I started with this and I will end by reading this because it is the essence of the corporate governance. It is the internal controls, policies and procedures, and which have the highest four marks. That's it. Next, I think it's over. Right. Epitome, just I give the word that epitome. I took all the examples to the possible extent, right, within the time frame. Our nation's solid open corporate governance makes ethical choices that favor all of its stakeholders, helping it to position itself as an appealing investment opportunity. If its financials are good in shape, where corporate governance causes the company's collapse, which also results in scandals and bankruptcy, you can divide the examples which we have quoted already, like TCS, Infosys, and Ambani's, Reliance, Mukesh Ambani, etc. They come under this frame, and Ambani's of Anil Ambani and Sachin Ramanathan, NSC case, and Chandra Kochhar, ICICI. These sort of things you can put under this category, right? So when you follow, when you avoid, when you breach, when you do not follow the corporate governance rules, what would be the resultant outcomes you can find here, right? So with that, thank you.
want, you are welcome.
Any questions for the guest? Sir, it was a very exhaustive and beautiful presentation, sir.
And I know that sir can go for another
3 hours because of this way he has presented. But due to time constraints and we have another beautiful program in the evening at 2:30. Where two big people from SP University, OSA, CEO is coming. Very big funding of Arctic Roads, which is eager to fund at least 2 to 3 projects from our college. And one more, this you have covered the total summary of this corporate governance subjects. This corporate governance, of course, is also very new. It is still evolving with all these committees, Kokotak committee, all these management committee, all various committees. And one more thing I want to, because these days were very much engaged with one of our events. I am very proud of our students, sir. In fact, my affection and love for all our. They are conducting one management fest. That is called Bahubali of Management Fest. And I invited couple of teams from your college also, sir.
Thank you, sir. I was prepared in Survey and send at least 2 teams from our college. We can also interact with our people. And I can say only that in the very recent, in the T-Hub, as you might have known well, T-Hub is formed by the government here. And very recently, our railway students got second prize, sir. When team of students led by Tejeshwari and they have elaborated one concept focusing on welfare to the farmers. Likewise, nowadays I can appreciate all the youngsters who are dynamic in nature and you are far better than people like us. So, our says obsolete, I can say, but of course we will run along with you to sustain our existence and to cope up with the future generations also. We are ready to take up that challenge also. But you are the rulers, you are the rulers of our nation tomorrow. So try to be not only study purpose, for in practice also hope that we are good citizens of. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good, sir. That is, I learn daily from them. Really very dynamic and passionate students who they themselves are organizing, funding, and they daily teach some marketing lessons for me. And now, I request some feedback from students. Jaya Jain, because she is dressed in a corporate manner, corporate governance. Please come and give some feedback.
Hello everyone. To just tell about this event, it was really great. Firstly, we have this common subject called VECG. I felt it is very irrelevant or kind of, but then after this session, I feel like corporate governance is very important along with business ethics. And through sponsorship and stuff, we have also learned that businesses do care about ethics, business ethics, like small businesses do. So I feel like everyone should be aware of all these terms that we are studying in MBA, and we need to know about small terminologies like trade and business, and these case studies are very important. today's sir stressed on certain case studies. So try to study on those things which will help every one of us here. Thank you very much, sir, for this session. It was very good.
Thank you, Jay. So because of some time constraints and some examination, so I request all of you to assemble after your examination at 2:30 our guests are going to come. So meanwhile, this half an hour or so you can prepare for your CCD examination. So I request this vote of thanks by Janet.
Very good morning to everyone present here. On behalf of all the students and staff, I am glad to stand here and express my vote of thanks. A special thanks to today's guest, I. Nageshwar Rao sir, for accepting our invitation and being with us here today. Sir, your session was